All right. Okay, a very good morning, esteemed professors, parents, and prospective students. Welcome to NTU School of Chemistry, Chemical Engineering, and Biotechnology Open House Webinar 2025. I'm Cashwell Tang, a second-year chemistry student, and I will be your host for this webinar. We hope that through today's webinar, you will eventually join us as part of NTU CCEB in our journey to redefine science, engineering, and lives. The program flow for today is as such. To begin, we'll have various professors and students share with you guys about the exciting aspects of student life and beyond. Finally, we will end the webinar with a much-awaited Q&A session. So during the entire session, if you have any questions or you have already questions that you have planned to ask us at the start of this, you can always leave it to the end to ask the different professors as well as the students about these questions.
Okay, I hope the screens is okay on your end. Okay, so my name is Raymond Lau. So I'm the Associate Chair for Academics. So what I'm sharing would be the undergraduate programs in CCEB. So I suppose most of you at this time, when you're trying to select a program, you would want to understand what each program is about, and you probably want to know more about how to do the selection as well, be it the programs in CCEB or other programs in NTU or other institutions. So just to start, I guess it would be good to give you a glance of the different undergraduate programs at CCEB. So generally speaking, we have three main degree programs. One would be the chemistry, guess over here, the chemistry. And then we have chemical and biomolecular engineering and bioengineering. So all three would be a direct honor bachelor programs. Then, of course, if it is chemistry, it is Bachelor of Science. Then if it is chemical and biomolecular engineering and bioengineering, it will be Bachelor of Engineering. So I would guess that majority of you would be selecting a single degree programs. But then for some of you who might have a broader interest to look at areas that is beyond this single degree, then we have different selections of second majors. So you can follow the column. So for chemistry and biological chemistry, you can have the options of doing second major in business, specifically in international trading, second major in data analytics, sustainability, entrepreneurship, as well as environmental science. Then with the chemical and biomolecular engineering and bioengineering, then your selections would be fairly similar. Second major in business, data analytics, sustainability, entrepreneurship. And specifically for bioengineering, you can also do a second major in pharmaceutical engineering. And then for the engineering programs, there is another option that you can do would be in a double degree program together with the Bachelor of Arts in Economics. So the difference between second major and double degree is that most second major, you'll be completing your studies within 4 years. You'll get one certificate for your single major and then plus a certificate for the second major. Double degree, on the other hand, it will take 5 years to complete. And by the end of your study, you'll get 2 degrees, 1 degree for your engineering degree and another degree for the Bachelor of Arts in Economics. What is new this year is that we also have a double major program. It is the Bachelor of Engineering Science in Process Engineering and Synthetic Chemistry. So this is new. So this is also a degree that you can complete within 4 years. And in this case, you will simply get the Bachelor of Engineering Science. And this also would be a degree that actually highly sought after by the industry because it has a good combination of both the science as well as the engineering knowledge. Okay, so I will not elaborate too much on what you'll be studying in each of the second majors, double degree, or double major. So for those, I think it'll be better for you to read through more extensively online by the different resources. So this one is just to give you a snapshot of what is available in our school. One thing I haven't talked about is the minors. So minors is something that you can have a lot of options. So most of the second major, double degree, and double major, you have to apply during admission. But minors, it's after you have entered the program, as long as you have fulfilled the coursework requirement, you can actually apply for it just before graduation. So you can decide on the minor at a later time. Okay, so after talking about so many different options, the different degrees, I think one of the key questions that you might be asking is that how to do a selection. What is the difference between chemistry, chemical and biomolecular engineering, and bioengineering? What do you study in these programs? So in simple words, if you are joining the program in chemistry and biological chemistry, what you'll be studying is the different branches of chemistry. Of course, you have the basic chemistry that learns about atoms, bonds, and reactions. But at the same time, you can also be learning about organic chemistry, the physical chemistry, as well as the analytical chemistry. So in this case, you'll be looking at the different aspects and also to look at the techniques that you can use to identify the various substances. On the other hand, for chemical and biomolecular engineering, even though there is this word called chemical, you don't really study a lot of chemistry, but instead what you're studying would be the chemical processes. How do you do operations to do the purifications and ensure that the quality of the chemicals that you produced are within certain specifications that people would use. So just for example, if you are buying bottled water, is this bottled water clean enough to drink? If you're buying medicines, would the medicines be pure enough so that it does not give you the side effects? So that's what you would be learning in the chemical and biomolecular engineering. And then for the bioengineering, again, even though it has this bio in it, actually you do not have a lot of biology. You do study more engineering aspects. So for bioengineering, sometimes people would understand it to be more relevant to biomedical engineering. So meaning you'll be dealing with a lot of the biomedical applications, working with patients. So one of the key things that you'll be learning, of course, you still have to learn a little bit of the biology and anatomy, because you'll be designing devices or the measurement techniques that can help doctors to diagnose patients. So in this case, you still want to learn how the body works, how the cells, tissues, and organs works. But at the same time, you want to learn about the tools that you can use to do the diagnostics. So the biomedical imaging, the instrumentations, and as well as to look at the materials and mechanics and how these different body parts works, or how you can design equipments that can help the patients to do their things. So for example, let's say the external skeletons that can help patients with walking disabilities. So you want to learn how these different things works. And finally, you can also be looking at the medical devices, say how you can design the different instrumentations that can help detect the blood type, the COVID-19 virus, and so on. So essentially, that's the differences between the chemistry, chemical engineering, and bioengineering. And of course, the next question you'll be asking is, why do you want to join NTU? So for NTU, we have technological in the middle of the name. So that essentially represents that we are highly industry relevant. So we actually involve a lot of the companies in our educations. So certain courses, the companies will be coming to give guest lectures to tell you what would be their operations like, and how you can use your knowledge learned within the university in their plant and in their companies. But at the same time, we have specific courses that are curated by the companies so that they teach the entire course, such that when you finish, you'll be immediately relevant to the work that they have. So for example, we have Shell that offer a course on petroleum refining. We also have Micron to offer a course on the semiconductor manufacturing. So these essentially would help you to understand what would be the industrial needs, and you can link the different courses that you learned within the curriculum and see how you can apply to the real world as well. And then the next thing that you'll be worrying about is that after you finish your studies, how do you land a job and how can you improve the chance of landing a job? So another unique feature of NTU is that we have personalized career planning and guidance. So the moment you join us in year one, we will be able to assign you with a one-on-one coaching. So you can start developing your career goal right from the year one. We don't want this to start when you're in year 3 and year 4, because sometimes a lot of the planning actually needs to be done early. If you're already in year 3 and year 4, the courses that you have taken may already be fixed and you may not even have time to do this additional learning. So in this case, with this one-on-one coaching, then you can cater your needs and the coach can help you to identify certain areas that you want to develop on. And in the NTU courses, we also give you a lot of flexibilities that you can earn certain AUs that is outside of the core courses. So in this case, you can allocate these AUs to the specific needs of the individuals. In that case, everybody is going to be different. And in addition to these career coaches, we also have industry relation consultants. And their role actually is to help you to understand what specific industry would be like. So for example, let's say you get a degree in actually any of the engineering. So many of the graduates will be working in, let's say, pharmaceutical industry. But then what would you do in a particular degree in the pharmaceutical industry? So what you do with a chemistry degree versus a chemical engineering degree versus a bioengineering degree is going to be very different. So before you decide what program you wanted to choose, maybe you should also be thinking about what is it that you want to do in a specific industry? And is that something that you are interested in? So you can be interested in a particular subjects, but do you see yourself doing work related to that specific area and that specific role? So these industry relation consultants essentially can give you ideas on that. So these industry consultants are very knowledgeable in specific fields. So some of them may not be engineering related. So for example, we also have the consultants that are highly relevant to, say, financial field. And in fact, many of the financial consulting companies, they hire engineers or chemists to help them with analyzing certain trends of commodities. So because the trainings that you receive in the program actually, I would say possibly be better than those who are trained in businesses. So in this case, those financial institutions would also be interested in hiring non-business degree students in their companies. So in that case, whether it is something that you would be interested in, come and join us and then talk to these industry relation consultants and then find out if those are something that is of your interest. And then international exchange. So we have various exchange opportunities, and NTU is striving to achieve more than 85% of the students to have this exchange opportunities. So be it a short term for a 1 or 2 week program to something that can be as long as 1 whole year. That is something for you to explore. And then another, I guess, concerns that you would have would be how about employment? So what can you do with a particular degree in our school? So this is a statistics that is collected for 2024. So in this case, if you look at for chemistry graduates, actually 27% of them are joining the scientific research and development field, and then 12.6% would be in the pharmaceutical manufacturing field, 11% in healthcare. So these informations are collected with more than 70% response rate. So these results are fairly accurate, except that, of course, the percentage can vary year by year. And then for chemical and biomolecular engineering, without much surprises, the top industry that our graduate went to last year would be the chemical manufacturing, followed by pharmaceutical and biological products and other engineering services. And at the bottom, you can also see some of the common job titles. So if you want to find out what do these people do, you can simply just do a Google search on these job titles. Many times you'll be able to find information about their job roles and responsibilities. And last but not least, for bioengineering, again, without much surprises, the top industry that our graduates went to would be healthcare, and then followed by pharmaceutical and biological products manufacturing. Just now I mentioned about financial institutions. So our bioengineering graduates actually also have about 10% of them joining these industries. So other than the industry, then of course, the other thing that would be of your interest would be how much are you getting paid? I do not have the latest statistics for 2024 because I believe that is going to be available in March. So do join us in the March open house. By that time, I think we should be able to share those information, or you can go to the Ministry of Education websites. You'll be able to find these employment statistics data as well. So for chemistry, our employment rate is 80% with a gross mean salary of about 3,900. For chemical and biomolecular engineering, employment rate is 92%, with the gross mean salary of around 4,300. And for bioengineering, the employment rate is around 87%, and then gross mean salary about 4,100. Salary doesn't say much. These are just the starting pay, and a lot of time within 3 to 5 years, a lot of time you'll be able to see a good increment that is around. So it really depends on how well you can perform in the particular role that you have. So these are the statistics, but how is it relevant to you? Because by the time you join us, it's going to be either later this year or 2 years later for the guys. So in that case, by the time you graduate, it's going to be 4 to 6 years down the road. So would these industries be still relevant? So that is something I would recommend you to do some additional research as well. But I've done a little bit on those information. So just look at the news. A lot of time, if you type a particular keywords on the industry and about Singapore, you'll find that there are a lot of news articles that talks about the development of Singapore, or what is the government directions in a particular area. And you can see that there are a lot of initiative and news articles that talk about companies that are setting up facilities in Singapore that helps with the manufacturing, be it on semiconductor, be it on pharmaceuticals. And in fact, in Singapore, we actually house 8 of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world that have their manufacturing facilities. And particularly in the Tuas area, you can see many of these clusters of pharmaceutical companies that does the manufacturing, which is why when you look at the employment, be it chemistry, chemical engineering, or bioengineering, you'll see that many of our graduates actually would join the workforce in the pharmaceutical industries. And this is not something that is just recent, but it's going to continue in the future. And something that's probably concerning for those who may be interested in the chemical engineering field is that, oh, are we concerning about the sustainability. So would petroleum be phasing out? Shell is pulling out of Singapore. Would that affect the employment? Actually, if you think about this, oil companies has been around for many years, and in order for them to survive, they should not be tapping onto the old technologies, but they would be constantly looking at new technology, make it more sustainable, make it more efficient. So that means they actually would be hiring more and more people to help them with this transformation. And particularly Singapore is also looking into the net zero transition by 2030. So that gives more initiative for the companies to strive for employing more people to achieve this sustainability efforts. And last but not least, when we are talking about the biomedical industries, Singapore also investing a lot in attracting foreign companies to set up their facilities, and they invest a lot of monies to do the commercialization of medical devices and also the medical technologies. So with all this information, what I wanted to show you is that actually whatever the field that you choose, if you look at the future development, it is going to be something that is bright and good for your future. Okay, so with this, I would like to thank you very much and hope you can join us at CCEB to Redefining Science, Engineering, and Lives. So I'll be available later on if you have any additional questions.
Once again, thank you, Prof. Lau, for the sharing, informative sharing. Once again, I see that there's a few questions already being asked in the Q&A segment. We will leave them to the end, after all the sharing today, so to make this entire session more conducive. Apologies on my end, there was a mistake made. Associate Prof. Raymond Lau is currently the Associate Chair for Academics. Well, next up, we are honored to have Associate Professor Ella, Associate Chair for Students in Continuing Education, as well as Dr. Ponumo Gunawan, Assistant Chair for Students and Continuing Education. They will be sharing with us more about the exciting student life, learning and development opportunities beyond academics right here at NTU CCEB. To start, Dr. Ponumo, please.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Purnomo Gunawan. I'm the Assistant Chair for Students and Continuing Education here at CCEB. So Prof. Lau just now has gone through with you the information about on the academic sides, but I would be covering on the student's life. Going to universities, basically, it's not going to be all about studies. And when you go to university, basically, the door will be open to you, whereby there's going to be a lot of opportunities, whereby you are able to meet all sorts of people, different kind of friends and colleagues that you'll be working on later on. So with this, basically, you can expect that the student's life in the university is going to be very much alive and interesting as well. And I would like to particularly share about what would you expect, okay? What kind of student's life would you expect when you come into the school of CCEB? So to structure my presentation, so when we talk about students' life within the CCEB, basically we have three broad kind of platforms of avenues whereby we provide the students academic support, students' talent and development in red, as well as students' well-being and support. Now, when we talk about students' talent and development, basically we have various students club and interest groups. And then we also have students actually going for different kind of competitions, and we also have a lot of research opportunities for those of you who are interested in research. Now, when we talk about students' well-being and support, basically these two are our main platforms, okay, whereby we can support students in terms of their emotional journey, as well as the career journey in the next few years in the university. So first of all, we have pastoral care, and then we have the career coaching, the one that Prof. Lau actually has mentioned just now. Next, when we talk about student academic support, basically we have academic mentoring platform as well as peer tutoring platform as well. So in the following slides, I will be going through for each of these support platforms that we have in the school to support you in a more holistic manner as a students here in the School of Chemistry, Chemical Engineering, and Biotechnology. So first of all, we have, with regards to student talent and development, we have various clubs and interest groups to begin with. So first, we have the CCEB Club over here. And later on, there will be a representative from the CCEB Club who will share more with you about what kind of activities and programs that they have. So over here, I'm just going to give you a very much overview of what is the CCEB Club is about. Basically, it's a platform and channel to connect students as well as faculty and students. So this CCEB Club basically is going to be voted by students, and they have so-called organize different kind of activities in terms of bonding activities, activities related to studies, as well as different kind of fun activities. So I think later on, the representative will share more about each of these. And here in the school, basically to facilitate so-called like students' life, we also have the students' lounge as well, where students actually can access and can use the facilities that we have inside the students' lounge. So basically, you can use the students' lounge as and when you need it, for example, just to take a break from your study or from classes, or to have some kind of a recreational kind of activities for you and your friends, and even with some faculty members as well during, these pictures are taken during the mentor-mentee sessions that we had here in the students' lounge. So here are some facilities that we have inside the students' lounge. We have a football table over here, as well as table tennis tables, and usually we'll have some kind of so-called snacks available for you to use. Okay, right. So this is the student lounge, and then next, basically a part of the CCEB Club, we have this Elysian freshman orientations. So this is going to be the first so-called like activity that you will be having as a freshman coming to the school. So there's this committee that will be organizing orientation for the freshmen. And I think later on CCEB Club would also be sharing more about what you can expect during this freshman orientation as well. Next, we have several so-called students' interest groups that we have within the school. And the motivation for us to have these students' interest group is that we want this to act as a platform for students to develop their own so-called like interest and passions in a more kind of like a holistic manner. So there are different students who are passionate in different things. So I'm just going to share a few over here. So first of all, there are students who are passionate in tinkering with stuff, with tools, for example, and we have this makerspace. So inside this makerspace, we have actually some 3D printers, some Arduino kits, for example, whereby students are able to conduct Arduino workshops, and then they also can use the 3D printing to make some so-called some prototypes for their use, for example, that they can also use it for their final year project on some or their modules that they are taking as well. So by the way, all of these students' interest groups are led and run by the students. So basically, students of like-minded students, they come up together and then they actually propose what kind of activities and ideas that they want to establish. And then they run the project, they run the workshops themselves, and they manage the whole space on their own as well, basically. And besides Makerspace, we also have some students who are keen to do more research in the biology, for example, the biology fields. And so we have the Biomakerspace so-called interest group. So in this interest group, basically students are doing more experiments. For example, they do some genetic engineering and then CRISPR. And then I think this is one of the so-called the outcome, the products that they actually came up with last time during COVID-19, that they actually developed some kind of a prototype for rapid test during that time. So besides Makerspace and Biomakerspace, we have a few more, like Anata over here, whereby in this group, students are so-called conducting workshops with regards to data analytics and data science. So this group of students, they also try to link up with industry to solve real problem statements by using data analysis and data science. And then we also have a group of students who are working on food waste conversion by using the black soldier fly larvae over here. So they use this black soldier fly larvae to upcycle food waste into fertilizer and animal feed. And from these so-called flies, basically, they're also able to extract useful biomaterials like chitin. And eventually, they are going to use their so-called their products, which is some sort of a fertilizers over here to so-called to do gardening and also to improve the productivity of their so-called small little farm. So over here, basically, they have the greenhouse whereby inside they plant a different kind of garden vegetables, and then they're actually doing some sort of research, the effect of this so-called fertilizer that is produced by this black soldier larvae on the so-called on the health and growth of the plants. And then we have some group of students who are passionate and into fermentation. So we have this Zymergy Guild, basically. So over here, we provide them a space whereby they can actually do fermentation of all sorts, like some of them, they do beer brewing, and another students actually interested in kombucha, and then some of them also making kimchi. So here are some facilities that we have in their so-called in their lab, in their space. And then we also have some other students who are into soap making. So they call themselves ecos over here. So they conduct workshops in how to make soaps, balms, creams, fragrances, as well as candles. Okay, so I think if you guys are coming to our open house on the 1st of March, so I think they would also be giving some samples of their candles and soap as well, okay, on that day itself. So you can look out for that. So out of these students' interest groups, so we have some kind of competitions, okay, going on as well. So for example, the Zymergy Guild, they organize this annual competition, beer brewing competitions. So over here, basically, we have competitions among students as well as faculty to determine who actually brew the best beer, basically, okay, in this competition. So what is the purpose of this? Is it just only for fun? Actually, not really, because by doing this so-called by being involved in the competition, basically students are also able to practice some of the good manufacturing practices that is widely used in pharmaceutical and food industries as well, because you need to make sure that so-called the equipments, the utensils, and the processes involved are sterile, so that you're able to come up with so that you're able to produce your desired so-called beer, right? So in this competition, we also engage companies, okay, to sponsor for prizes and judges as well. And then from the biomaker space, we have a group of students who have been joining so-called this synthetic biology competition in the international level. So every year, I think our school actually has been sending a group of students to join these international competitions, which is usually held in Paris, France. So we support these students to go for this so-called, they call it the iGEM Jamboree. And over here, basically, they are trying to develop so-called some solutions, okay, in the field of biomedical and biotechnology applications. And besides that, we also have numerous other students who also join different kind of competitions as well. So for example, over here, we have some students joining this Engineering Innovation Challenge, whereby we actually came out as a second runner-up last year. And then in 2023, we came up as a first runner-up in the HPC AI Innovation Challenge. And then the year before, in 2022, we have some students actually even joining some kind of a consulting case competitions. So like what Prof. Law mentioned. So by having a degree in science and engineering, it does not limit you to just so-called in the STEM kind of a field, but you can also branch out to even in the business and economics kind of field as well, okay? Given the training that you'll be having in this school. Now, for some of you who are actually more inclined to do research, there are also plenty research opportunities as well. So first of all, in the university level, we have this Eureka program, which is the undergraduate research on campus. Usually you can start taking this Eureka program in year 2, and if you want to repeat again year 3, that is also possible. So you can choose from over 1,000 faculty members across NTU. And then it's usually 2 semester long. And when you embark on this Eureka, usually the project is going to be interdisciplinary research. And sometimes you may also have collaboration with corporate lab as well. So besides Eureka, in particular for chemistry students, you will also have summer research as well, whereby you'll be attached with the faculty from the chemistry so-called program, and it's going to be ungraded. So the purpose of this summer research basically is to hone your skill and knowledge in doing research. So usually we conduct this summer research during summer break. And then another platform we have is you can also choose to do this research module. So one of it is called the individual research project, whereby it's going to be so-called pass-fail or graded modules, and usually it spans about 1 semester. And you can also choose which faculty that you want to work your research with, basically. So here are some research topics that you can choose in our school. So from chemistry, basically there are professors working on synthetic organic chemistry, asymmetric catalysis, drug synthesis, bioimaging, nanomedicines, etc. And then for so-called chemical engineering and bioengineering, so these are some so-called research fields that our faculty professors are working on: catalysis and reaction engineering, and then bioprocesses, biocatalysis, metabolic engineering, genomics, as well as biomedical devices, bioimaging, therapeutics, drug delivery, as well as sustainable food production technologies and conversion, as well as food security. So these are all, basically, you can see that our professors are really working on so-called a wide spectrum of research, and you can basically attach yourself, ask the professor their availability and vacancy in their lab to host you in their lab. So that is very much possible. And then, like what I mentioned earlier, so we also want to support students in their well-being. So we have this pastoral care over here. We have a certified counselor in-house in our school, and this is actually Melvin Fong. He's so-called a certified counselor who will be able to support you. Suppose you have some emotional issues or family issues or stress-related, academic related issues as well. All of this may induce stress, okay, or during your studies. So you feel free to approach Melvin over here to support to get some sort of counseling, or even if you just want to have someone to listen to you. And then working closely with the university counselors, we also have this beacon at CCEB, whereby the university level counselor will be a so-called station in our school to give a one-on-one session with the professional counselors as well. So we hope that by providing this pastoral care, so-called like a space, it provides so-called like a safe space for students to so-called to share your concerns, and so that we are also able to support you in any ways that we can in terms of your mental well-being. So besides that, we also have academic mentoring as well. So each of the students here in the school will be attached to a faculty mentor. So what is the purpose of this academic mentoring is first to help students to adapt to undergraduate life, as well as to establish rapport between students and faculty, and to guide students in mapping their courses and their career options as well. Okay, so usually now we actually conduct these so-called mentor-mentee sessions every semester. But besides these mentor-mentee sessions, students are also encouraged to meet with their mentors on their own as well. Okay? And lastly, we would also have peer tutoring. So this peer tutoring is going to be on the voluntary basis. So this is a new initiative that we had. What's the motivation of this peer tutoring? Because we want basically to foster a culture of learning and support within the CCEB community. So what's happening for this peer tutoring scheme is that well-performing students would volunteer to tutor their fellow students as well, because sometimes you may learn better actually when your peer actually teach you, right? Okay, so that is the purpose of this peer tutoring. Okay, so I think that's so-called some aspects of students' life in the school that you may expect when you join our schools. So later on, I think a representative from the CCEB Club will be sharing more as well about their activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ponomo, for the sharing on vibrant student life once again. If the audience has any questions, you guys can always feel free to use the Q&A function to just ask questions first. We will get to the questions after the final sharing session of today. On that note, we have the final sharing session of today. Apologies. Yeah, there'll be by a few current students here at NTU CCEB. They'll be sharing more about the various clubs that we have. We have the Academic Welfare Director for CBE and BIE, as well as the Assistant Academic Welfare Director. Both of them are currently under the NTU CCEB Club. They will tell you more about different clubs and programs that CCEB has to offer. To start, can we have KK?
Hi everyone, I'm KK and I'm currently doing my second year here at NTU doing chemical engineering. I'm also a part of CCEB Club, which is the Chemistry, Chemical Engineering and Biotechnology Club. And I'm the Academic Welfare Director here as well. So you guys might know what an academic welfare is, but I'll explain to you in a bit. So let me give you some basic structure of how the club works. So we have the top 5, which are the presidents and the vice presidents over here. And then there will be the directors who will oversee different portfolios. And then the rest at the back will be all the subcommittee that will assist directors in planning events and doing all the assigned roles. So there are lots of opportunities and chance for you to learn here as well. So next will be the different portfolio in NTU CCEB Club. So we have around 7 main portfolio. The first one will be academic welfare, which is what I'm doing right now. We mainly focus on academic related stuff like course deconflicting and also sharing and networking sessions. Next one will be in Bismack. They mainly source sponsorships for various events. They also like bought goodies for exam welfare packs as well. And then Clan. So as Prof. Panomo already mentioned, we have something called Elysian, which is the freshman orientation program. And then after the event ends, Clan will be the one who helped to strengthen the bond between the clan members and members from different clans as well. Then next one will be logistics. They mainly support other portfolios and transportation of goods, and they also sell CCB merch such as t-shirts as well. Then next one would be social. Social hosts lots of social events such as dinner and dance, Halloween, and back to school. So you can really expect lots of events happening in CCB throughout the year. And then next one would be sports. As the name says, we also participate in inter-school games where we compete against other schools in different kind of sports. And then we have PNP, which is publicity and publication. So they do all the artworks, all the posters. They also manage our club Instagram account, which is NTU CCEB Club. You can just follow there if you want to know more. The name is that easy. And then the last one is student union representatives. So for this one, it's not really like a portfolio, but they're the voice of CCEB students to represent in the student union, in the NTU student union. So they work for the whole NTU, not just for CCEB. Okay, so these are a glimpse of student life for the events that we host under CCEB Club. So the first one I mentioned is inter-school games by sports portfolio. So we have like many kinds of sports like Brawl Stars, badminton, table tennis, like lots of them. And then back to school by social. We have lots of station games. We have welfare and bubble tea as well. And then this is the workshop that students can get to like paint their own pencil bag and keep it to themselves. And then the third one is CCEB Club Bonding Day. So we think that it's really important for like the members of CCEB Club to get to know each other better so they can work more like seamlessly. And this one we bond across all the 7 portfolio as well. So not just bonding within the portfolio. The next one is hosted by Clan. It's an inter-clan bonding. This one is Hashnam and Omaha. they were having Mugata here in NTU, like on campus. So it was really, really fun. And last one will be CNY, hosted by Clan as well. So we have like free buffet, and we have station games, we have Ang Bao Hunt. So as you can see, we constantly have lots of events throughout the academic year. So if you happen to join CCEB Club, I really hope you participate in this kind of events as well. So next up will be the academic support we provide by CCEB Club. So I will pass my floor to Val to elaborate more on this.
Okay, thank you, KK. So hello, I'm Val, first year bioengineering student, and I serve as the assistant director for CCB Club Academic Welfare. Also, I'm a part of Biomedical Engineering Society at NTU. So CCB Club provides academic support by organizing events that offer students valuable industry insights. Recently, our academic welfare team hosted an internship sharing session where CCB seniors enthusiastically shared their internship experiences. This session helps students gain a clearer understanding of various career paths, equipping them with the knowledge to make informed decisions about their futures and prepare themselves for it. Looking ahead, we are excited to host a professional networking session building on the success of last year's event. Industry professionals with extensive experience will share their roles and insights, giving students a deeper understanding of potential career opportunities. Both events follow a similar structure, where they begin with a general sharing session from the speakers, followed by a carousel-style networking session, where students rotate through small groups with different speakers, ensuring everyone has equal opportunities to engage with each speaker. The event concludes with an open networking session, allowing students to engage freely with speakers who align with their interests. Beyond the academic and career support, we believe that fostering a strong and encouraging community is key to enriching student experience. To help students stay motivated during exam periods, our business manager team has prepared exam welfare packs, ensuring students feel supported throughout their academic journey. Next, I will pass on to KK to expand more about our interest groups. Sorry, I think you're still muted. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, Val. So the majority of the interest groups is mentioned by Prof. Pranomo already. So I'll just briefly go through some of them. So we have CCEB Student Ambassador, which Kestra and I are part of that as well. So if any one of you are coming to NTU on the 1st of March, please you can expect to see us there as well. And we will be conducting tour and like around CCEB. So if you want to know more about how the building is like or different kind of activities in NTU, I really encourage you to come. And we'll be stationed at booth to give you more information about the courses as well. And yeah, I think that's all. So if you happen to join CCEB, please keep these interest group and CCEB Club in mind. There are lots of opportunities and chance for you to like learn, explore, and grow. So I really encourage you to take part in these activities beside your study as well. So that will be all for me. Thank you.
Okay, once again, thank you so much to all the professors and students for the wonderful sharing. That was honestly very insightful. With that, I will now we will now start with the Q&A session. It seems that there are quite a few questions that was being asked. I think to start off with the earlier questions, for the site on the undergraduate programs as well as the requirements, there are some questions asking whether or not there's a need to take certain subjects, like for example, for CBE and BIE, like H2 physics, or is there a certain requirement for each of the different courses on the types of subjects they need to take in JC, Poly, or IB whatsoever? Professors?
Yeah, I'll just go with the order of the questions. So so physics is not a requirement to enter all the programs. Essentially, you'll be learning physics in year 1. Then depending on your physics background, you have no background, you'll do a 4AU physics course. But if you do have physics background, then you'll be a 3AU. But eventually, after this first semester, then everybody should be on par.
Okay. Then, oh yes, sorry. I think there was a question with regards to undergraduate research programs that was previously mentioned, like Eureka and UROP. There's a question asking whether or not the prior RP or like the prior grades affect their chances of entering
No.
this
So
undergraduate.
for Eureka, it is based on the year one results. So NTU will send out an invitation to the top 15% of the cohort. So all these people will be invited to join Eureka. But let's say if you're interested in research, but you are not making the cut, it's okay, because basically almost all professors in NTU are doing research. So if you're interested, you can just approach any of them that are doing research topics that are of your interest. And I think many of them would just welcome a helping hands. So you can be an observer, you can help out with a certain area of their research until you're comfortable. Then you can even venture into a new research area on your own. So yeah, don't worry about joining Eureka, whether it is official or not official. You have plenty of research opportunities in a university.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I think there is an interesting question about the new program that we have right here in NTU, the one on the process engineering as well as synthetic chemistry. As we all know, it is a holistic combination between chemical engineering and chemistry, as sort of to give the students a bit better understanding of both views. The question was asking whether or not they will put them in this degree program would put them in a position where they're not particularly strong in fields, and as a result, they're not able to get a job in that for that matter.
I guess just to elaborate about this double degree program. So even though we try to fit everything into the 4 years, it does take more number of AUs compared to a single degree program. And all the necessary courses are already involved in that. And when we push out this program, we actually have sent out the I guess the coursework requirements and then the learnings to our industry partners, and they are all agree that this program is something that they are very interested in. So I do not think you need to worry about whether you'll be weaker in a certain area.
Okay, I think we're going to shift a little bit for now to the other sort of like the non-academic related. There was a question asking with regards to like interest group programs. I mean, there has been a lot of sharing about the various interest group programs that we provide. Is there they're asking how we can join it and how it works in terms of whether or not it provides CCA points or hall points whatsoever. Are any of the students or professors able to help with that?
Yeah, I think let me take this one. Yeah. So to come up with a student interest group, actually it's pretty straightforward kind of process.
No, we cannot hear you well.
Oh, yeah. Can Ella, you want to take this first? Then I'm having some problem.
So
Yeah.
since Purnomo has a bit of an issue with his microphone, maybe I can take this question. So for the interest groups, each interest group at the beginning of the year is going to advertise recruitment, and they're going to come and tell you what they are doing, and you can just sign up with them and join their activities. In terms of CCA points, and this is something that we do not encourage, because the interest groups are run by students at the level of the students, the school. They are not going to come with CCA points. These interest groups are meant to be led by the students, by the interest of the students. And why do we do that? And what does this mean? Basically, if an interest group doesn't have a student that are interested in anymore, it's just going to fizzle out. It's just going to die out while other interest groups are going to join in, So we want to have a dynamic and lively environment where you are encouraged, and we encourage you, and then we support you to actually explore your interests without worrying about all the whole points and all these kind of things, removing this stress of the whole points.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah. So I think we want to really have these interest groups to grow organically, whereby we actually provide a platform for students to really develop themselves based on their own passions and based on their own so-called like interest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the answers. Once again, if any of you have more questions, you can always simply put your questions down in the Q&A segment. I think we have one more question, more academic based this time. Some at least Jamie in this case is quite worried about whether or not it's the workload or the is it hard to juggle a double major? And in terms of the AU requirements, are BDEs still a need for a double major program?
Yeah, so let me answer that. So in terms of the workload, definitely it would be a bit more than the single degree. And there is still the BDE option available. So I think one of the question was regarding, so when you're in the double major, whether you can still do specialization. And just because we have this BDE option, it is still possible. But one thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes when you are starting out, you try to do everything. You want to do a PhD, you want to do a business management, you want to do a specialization. But actually, sometimes it's not good to overload yourself in doing so many things. So that's why when I mentioned in my presentation, we have this career coaches and also the industry relation consultants. They help you to explore what are the possible fields that you should probably be focused on. So that way you can spend your remaining time to get yourself better in that specific area. If you want to go for a PhD, you want to do a certain things that allow you to be able to venture and look for PhD positions easier in the future. But if you want to do industry, then you want to identify what specific role in that industry that you would likely be interested in. And that way, when you're looking for internship, at least you have something to talk about, not just say, oh, I have completed this required coursework. What extra things that you have done? Because if you really think about it, in these days, what companies are looking for is not just a graduate. How do you differentiate yourself from others who are taking the exact same courseworks? It's actually the initiative that you have to further develop yourself than what is already prepared. Why interest groups and all these other CCA activities are of interest is because it is something extra. So how do you differentiate yourself? It's really on whether you do these extra things to benefit. So I think it is important for you to think about what is it that you really want to achieve in the future, and then decide how you want to do that during your undergraduate studies.
All right, I think we'll be taking maybe one or two more questions maximum. I think one of the questions that is even for all the events that I go to, as there's a lot of students and parents that do ask me this question too. I personally don't have a very strong answer because I'm still a student, but the question that they always ask is whether or not with the recent popularity of AI, would it potentially replace the jobs that, a lot of students are currently vying for?
Let me try to address that, and I'll let others to chip in as well. So when we talk about AI, it's definitely very helpful. But then I think ultimately what you need to think about is what are you learning? If you're learning just certain information that is already available, certain standard things that you can achieve, standard procedures that can easily be replaced by AI. But then what you can think of is what you're developing is those logical thinking. So even AI is giving you a certain answer. Can you differentiate whether these answers are making sense? Do you have sufficient fundamentals that allow you to determine if the answer is right? And I think if you want to put it in a very layman terms, what is AI? You can really consider AI as a calculator. It can make your life easier, so you don't have to do all those hand manual calculations. But then whether the calculation is right or wrong, you still have to decide. If you punch in a calculator and it gives you a negative number, but your intuition is telling you that it shouldn't be negative, then you can go back and revisit and see whether this is indeed done correctly. So yes, AI can replace a lot of jobs if you're not really having an additional input. If you're just taking whatever answers provided by AI, then I would say yes, your job can be replaced. But when you can make use of the AI and make your output more efficient, then actually AI probably will be benefiting you instead. So I guess that would be my input.
So if
Okay.
I add that, keep in mind that AI is a tool and is not meant to replace you, it's going to replace exactly like when we had the Industrial Revolution, it's going to replace the small tasks, the repetitive tasks and things like that. But without a human input, AI is not much, it's just a machine at the end of the day.
Yeah, and definitely, just to add on a little bit more, that's why this is the reason why you should really be studying and why you should really be focusing on your subject matters. Because with the prevalence of AI, to be honest, you need to even develop more expertise in whatever in whatever field that you are choosing, basically, because you will be the one who will determine whether the outcome from AI, whether it's going to be correct, whether it's going to be feasible. It's still going to be human. Yes. And I think,
Sorry.
yeah.
Continue,
And I think
sorry.
there's also some questions, I think, down there about whether chemical engineering is more like a dying kind of industry because it looks like the job opportunities becoming weaker. Many people also ask me these questions, and my answer to that is that actually, when we look around you, all the things that we are using actually in our daily lives actually are product of chemical engineering. From the furnitures that we have, from the medicines that we consume, from the food, from the so-called the clothings, the paints, the pigments, all of these, the fragrances that we've been using every day, these are all products of chemical engineering. So, but why there is this sort of like a sentiment that the chemical engineering industry is kind of like going down? So I think we are in the era whereby digitalization is taking place it's touching many areas. Yeah. So because of this, then I see that the chemical industry is also kind of also needs to reorganize, need to redefine themselves as well. Okay, and when we are able to reach a certain so-called like a new equilibrium or a new kind of state later on with the involvement of AI and everything, digitalizations, definitely we as chemical engineers, not only chemical engineers, we as engineers and scientists, we will still be playing a role in this field basically. But maybe it may not be the same as the conventional roles that we had before, but it should be so-called like a new well-defined role whereby we also need to work more closely with AI and with any other technologies that will come along with it. So I think that's my take about it.
If I may add, because Jamie is asking about petrochemical industries and things like that. If you join any kind of engineering and you are going to be given a core education and all the fundamentals that should allow you to go in any kind of industry you choose to go, be it petrochemical, be it being materials, be it perfumery, cosmetic, and things like that. So you are not going to get specialized in like going only in polymer chemistry for a polymer industry, for example. You are going to have all the fundamental knowledge that you should be able to build on in whatever this direction you choose to go further in your career.
Thank you very much for all the inputs from all the professors. I think we're coming to the end. We're almost out of time. But before we wrap up everything, just note that in the chat later, my colleague will be sending you guys. If I'm not wrong, yes, there are some details about you can always email CCEB admissions if you have any questions. And more importantly, speaking for all academic related questions that you may have when it comes to admissions, do refer to the brochure of the ones that we will give out during all the outreach. So over there, they will tell you specifically what the requirements as well as the job prospects. It's a quick summary of whatever the professors has gone through today. Okay, so with that note, once again, I would like to thank our professors and students for sharing their expertise and experience with us today. A big thank you to all the audience for the engagement and thoughtful questions. More importantly, if you have further questions and would like to continue the conversation, please drop by our open house on 1st March, where you can always ask our professors and fellow students any burning questions that you may not have been answered today. Thank you once again for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Have a wonderful week ahead. Apologies. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you,
everybody.
Gastrel.
Bye.
Yes.
You.
Bye.
Bye.